Hey everybody, failed entrepreneur back again. Another hot take coming right at you today. I want to talk about something that I've been seeing in the news a little bit, and kind of relating back to some previous videos I had made before the failed entrepreneur hiatus. Specifically with the upcoming presidential election, with the assumed nomination of Joe Biden, and a very late newcomer was Anthony Cuomo, Governor Cuomo from New York, right? So anyway, if you again were one of the two people that had watched before, back in like August, I think I had predicted at the time Elizabeth Warren was going to get the Democratic nomination. I think she just had a good debate. This was early in the process. She had kind of surged ahead, and looking at the rest of the field, it seemed like having a progressive woman candidate to kind of not Hillary 2.0, but to some nostalgia for that. She seemed viable, and I thought she was going to be tough to beat, but she ended up falling back to earth shortly afterwards. Became two-person race between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, and I guess it still is. It's March 30th. Biden is, I mean, man, whatever happened to that the Democratic nomination process, right? Like, what? I guess they're still voting, and I guess it's still going on, and I guess Bernie Sanders hasn't dropped out, so he's still technically in it, right? But it's Biden's probably going to be the nominee. But what you are seeing, and this was kind of bubbling under the surface for a long time, there's a lot of never Bidens in the Democratic Party right now, and I think you're seeing a lot of buyer's remorse with Biden getting the nomination. I was surprised. I didn't think he was a strong candidate. I don't know what he brought to the table besides Obama nostalgia, and what people are seeing now is Biden. He may not be up to. He may not be. It is questionable if Biden is up to this task. He kind of did very poorly during the primaries, if you remember, until kind of like South Carolina. The primaries were very weird this time around. There were so many candidates, and every week you had a new front runner, right? I heard someone else say that the Democratic Party, it was like trying on shoes, right? You know, we'll try on this pair, and for a while it doesn't fit. You know, to walk around the store, it's too tight on my toes, or it doesn't breathe very well, and so they try on a new pair of shoes. And so I think eventually they just kind of ran out of time, and they had to pick a pair of shoes to leave the store with, and so they ended up with Biden. But you take them home, you walk around like, these shoes don't really match anything I own, and they're really not that comfortable, and I probably got them like a little bit too small. But you really can't go return the shoes now because you've been walking around in them, or can you, right? So Biden's had some bad press interviews. I haven't been paying too much attention, but I've seen clips and highlights. It just, I don't know, if you were watching during the nomination process, he was doing this quite a bit, but just stumbling, acting confused, just not answering. Well, politicians never answer questions when they're asked, but just he doesn't look fit. He doesn't look well. He does not look like he's up for a grueling presidential campaign when he can't even get through like a CNN interview, right? I mean, even during the debates, you saw this. He would kind of ramble a little bit, end his question early, and then he would just kind of these weird sentences, or just these weird ramblings, like, I apologize, and I shouldn't have said, like stuff you never hear, and stuff you might hear in like a conversation, but not something you hear from somebody running for president. Just kind of like jumbled, jarring mess. Guy's super old. I'm not saying he's got dementia like some people, but I don't know. He's not well. But like I said, he is the assumptive nominee, And this is who the Democrats have attached their wagon to, the horse they attached their wagon to. And I don't know if he's going to do very well against Trump. You see a lot of polls, Biden smashing Trump in some of these swing states. I don't know if those are accurate. We should all be wary of polls after the 2016 election. But speaking of polls, Trump is doing okay right now, considering all the corona craziness. We'll see how that works. He probably was cruising to re-election before all this happened with a really good economy. What happened to that? And, nothing really had blown up. And then this falls in his lap, and he's doing I don't know. There's been a lot of mistakes, but I think getting these economic payouts, that's another video, those Trump bucks, is going to help him a little bit. I don't know. That's a complicated issue for another video. I'm rambling myself now. What I'm trying to say is what you're seeing a lot now, speaking of corona and opportunism, is Cuomo, the Governor Cuomo from New York. His state has been hit very hard. A lot of population density in New York, so it would make sense. People travel there all the time. It's a big travel hub. So it would make sense New York would have a lot of outbreak in there. They're suffering, and it's one of the hot spots right now. And kind of like you saw after 9/11, if you remember back then, Rudy Giuliani, right, mayor of New York, kind of rose to national prominence, taking the lead because New York was hit really hard, and trying not only to, he was America's mayor, they said, right, and trying to, he provided leadership and stability and projected strength, and maybe doesn't have those qualities now, but at the time in 9/11, he definitely did, and people looked up to him. He also ended up trying to run for president a few years ago, didn't work, but point is that people looked to him as he became a national leader. And I think you're seeing this happen to Cuomo now and how he deals with the corona epidemic, pandemic, whatever, outbreak. And you're seeing a lot of Cuomo here's the point of the video. Pay attention to the news. You're going to be getting a lot of Cuomo now. I'm not saying push down your throats, shove down your throats, but they're going to make him a celebrity. Right? Because he's in he's in the middle of all this, so it would make sense. And hopefully New York is able to stabilize and pull through this, and we want that to happen. But I think you're going to see a lot of people in the press, people in the media, in the news, pushing this guy as a national leader, someone who's rising to the challenge and successfully, quashing and overcoming this corona epidemic, in hopes that when the DNC convention comes around, maybe we can sub him out for Joe Biden. Does that make sense, right? Little buyer's remorse. Again, if you could rewind like a month or two and go back into all the primaries we had, I doubt Joe Biden would be winning any of those with kind of what we know now and what we see from him now. I don't think he would stand a chance. He might have gotten Bernie Sanders may have walked away with it. He may have had someone else come like Pete Buttigieg. But anyway, I think they're trying to scramble right now as best they can with all the crazy corona stuff to find somebody else. And you can just see in the news that they are pushing this Cuomo guy to see if they can't do that, sub him in. Is that even possible? I have no idea. What it really will come down to is the convention going to be brokered or not, right? Does Biden have enough delegates to just seal the deal? Sanders has not conceded. He's still in there. I don't know if he can get enough votes to force a contested convention. And the way it goes is if they don't have a kind of unanimous decision, I think after the first round, then it gets really messy. Then we're into uncharted territory, and anybody could walk away with the nomination. It hasn't happened in a very long time. It didn't go well for Democrats last time this did in 69, I think is when it was. But Sanders will, I think that's why he's staying around, hoping that maybe something happens to Biden and he has to drop out, which is entirely possible. Or you may be seeing the Democrats trying to sneak Cuomo in, who was never on a ballot in any primary. But I think if they had the choice today, just with you know aesthetics and just current events and Corona's on everybody's mind, I think we might see a push to get him in there. I don't know how legit it's going to be. I don't know how successful, but I think you can see right now they're trying to kind of plant the seeds, lay the groundwork to see if they can't maybe swap again Sanders out and get Cuomo back in there. And that will be if that happens. Let's go on our way back. Let's time travel in the future. You got two New Yorkers, very outspoken. Both of them dealing with coronavirus in their own way. Cuomo focusing on New York, Trump on the country as a whole. Both probably with some victories and some defeats in how they're trying to tackle this. And that would be an interesting election, and that would be a little too close to call right now. But again, I don't know if that would happen. But it would be a lot closer, I think, than Biden right now, because as this goes on, you're just going to see more gaffes, more mistakes. The guy looks tired. The guy should be. He's just so old, and I don't think it's going to go well. So it would be to the Democratic Party's benefit to get somebody in. I just don't know if technically they can right now. They may be stuck with Biden. Maybe he puts Cuomo in as a running mate, but he's already gone on record that he wants to have a woman as his VP, and maybe he wishes he could take that back right now. I don't know. So what I'm trying to say is, of course, Corona and the economy is on everybody's mind, but do not forget there is a way more important than it. I mean, it's always important, but extra important now, presidential election coming up. And really, I think the election kind of has started as we speak, right? Can't wait for Biden to get the nomination. You may be seeing Cuomo trying to act and look presidential to see if he can't come in here and kind of steal this at the last second, which I think a lot of people would probably be happy to see. So we will see again if that happens. Pay attention. May you live in interesting times. So that's all for today. I got stuff to do. I know you do too. I'll catch you later. Fail Entrepreneur out.